Adam Silver has found himself in some serious hot water over the management of the WNBA, and is they faking rating?
All right, check this out. Adam Silver just found out the hard way. You never, ever mess with Caitlin Clark's spotlight. What started as a simple, harmless interview spiraled into a full-on PR disaster, forcing him to backtrack faster than a ref reversing a blown call. And now, get this. Reports are claiming he's basically pleading with Caitlin to stay put after her massive offseason deal sent shockwaves through the entire league. So here's the real question. Should the WNBA be apologizing to her or thanking her? Think about it. Silver probably expected a chill week. A couple of interviews, some feel-good talk about growth, and then business as usual. But instead, he stumbled straight into what might be the biggest fiasco the WNBA's faced all year. And honestly, calling it a fiasco might even be generous, because the moment he brought up Caitlin Clark's name, everything went off the rails at record speed.
Stepped out and started talking about the crazy nonsense of a civil war that's going on between Iron Man or Iron Woman, Kathy Engelbert, and Captain America, Nafisa Collier.
All right, let's rewind for a second. So Adam Silver sits down with NBC News. It's supposed to be this calm, polished conversation about leadership, expansion, and all that corporate talk about growth and inclusivity. You know the drill, a feel-good PR moment. But somewhere between all the buzzwords and brand-safe optimism, Silver decides to go off script. And boom, he says the quiet part out loud. He admits the WNBA doesn't just have economic problems, it has relationship problems. And that one line, it hit harder than a flagrant foul. Because in plain English, he basically confirmed what fans have been yelling all season long. The league is broken from the inside out. Within minutes, social media went nuclear. Silver probably thought he was just being transparent, but in PR land, that's like lighting a match in a fireworks warehouse. Players started giving him side eye. Fans lost their minds, and the internet crowned him as the guy who finally said what everyone already knew. The WNBA is a mess, and the wildest part? He wasn't even wrong. The league's issues are stacked higher than Caitlin Clark's three-point numbers. Players are calling out refs every week. Execs are dodging tough questions, and Kathy Engelbert's out here pretending everything's sunshine and rainbows. But the second Silver mentioned relationship issues. Everyone took it as him throwing Kathy straight under the bus. To be fair, it kind of sounded that way. Like a boss who just realized his employee broke the company printer, but doesn't want to fire anyone. He even tried to smooth it over first, praising Kathy for historic growth, before immediately undercutting it with, "We still have big relationship issues with players." So, Adam, which is it? Historic growth or complete disconnection? Because you can't brag about record success while your players are hinting at a lockout on social media.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says Caitlin Clark has set the world on fire. Silver didn't reveal much about their brief conversation, but his admiration for Clark's achievements couldn't have been clearer. Speaking on FanDuel Sports Network, he said Caitlin Clark set the world on fire, not just this community. And it's easy to see why, from dominating college basketball at Iowa, where her famous number 22 jersey was retired, to becoming the first overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. Clark has been on...
Now, before we get into the whole apology tour, let's pause for a second and talk about why Silver's comments hit such a nerve. It's simple. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player. She's the engine powering the WNBA's rise into mainstream culture right now. Think about it. Every time she steps on the court, ratings soar. Every time she speaks, social media lights up. Honestly, she could sneeze, and 10 different outlets would crank out headlines about it within the hour. That's the level of influence she holds. She's not just part of the conversation. She is the conversation.
Just own up and step down. I believe that's what should happen. Kathy need to just walk away. We're going off into the sunset. Well, the half bright sunset, I should say, because it ain't gonna be a good goodbye. But I feel like at this point she gonna have to step down. Stephen A. Smith said it last week, and I'm saying it right now.
So when Adam Silver sat down for his big leadership moment, and let's be honest, kind of brushed off Caitlin Clark's massive impact, fans took it as him biting the very hand that's feeding his league all this new attention. And honestly, they weren't wrong, because behind the scenes, the real story was brewing. Caitlin Clark had just landed another monster offseason speaking deal, rumored to be worth nearly $500,000 per event. She's basically printing money without even touching a basketball. Meanwhile, the WNBA's been in overdrive trying to convince everyone they can somehow thrive without her. That's why Silver tried to sound all confident, throwing out buzzwords like rocket trajectory. But fans weren't buying it for a second because the numbers just didn't match the narrative. The same week, reports claimed that WNBA Finals ratings had doubled. Except, plot twist, Nielsen quietly changed how they count viewers this year, suddenly adding bars, airports, and hotel TVs into the mix. So yeah, the ratings look better, but only because the math changed. It's like bragging you grew taller after putting on heels. Fans saw right through it, calling out the league for cooking the stats just to pretend Caitlyn isn't carrying the entire show. Then came Silver's infamous relationship issues line, and that's when everything exploded. It instantly looked like he was defending Commissioner Kathy Engelbert instead of supporting the players, especially the one player actually responsible for those so-called historic ratings. Within hours, hashtags flooded X and TikTok. Hashtag apologize to Caitlyn and hashtag WNBMS fix it. Even neutral fans jumped in asking, how can you brag about growth when your players don't even trust you? And honestly, they had a point. Players are beyond done. Nneka Agwamike publicly called out league leadership on national TV. Sophie Cunningham hinted at a possible lockout. And then Candace Parker dropped the bombshell, saying Adam Silver texts her more than her own commissioner. That one hit different. On her podcast, Candace revealed Adam personally reached out when she had a baby, when she retired, and even when she inked her Amazon deal. Kathy Engelbert? Radio silence. That sound you're hearing? That's the league's credibility crumbling. Even Sabrina Ionescu admitted she has a better relationship with Adam than with her own commissioner, which, let's be real, should never happen. Be why the time Silver gave his growth and progress speech. Fans had already seen straight through the polished PR grin. Then came the viral clip, him saying the league's problems were personal. Translation: everyone behind the scenes can't stand each other. It was like watching a dysfunctional family meeting where everyone smiles for the camera while throwing food under the table. And then, just when you think it can't get worse, he brought up Caitlin Clark again. He tried to sound neutral, but every word screamed desperation, as if he was pretending she wasn't the only reason the WNBA is even relevant right now. The internet didn't hold back. Comments flooded in. Bro, you should be begging Caitlyn to stay. She IS your ratings. Others joked, Silver talking historic growth. Without mentioning Clark is like pretending Taylor Swift didn't sell out her own stadium. It got ugly fast. And here's the kicker. Silver knows exactly how bad it looks. The guy's one of the most media-polished commissioners in all of sports. He doesn't usually make rookie PR mistakes like this. But this one, yeah, he fumbled it hard. Sources say he's now quietly running damage control, calling Caitlyn's reps, trying to clear the air. Translation: apology tour in progress. Apparently, he told her his comments were misinterpreted, that he deeply values her impact, and even hinted at wanting her involved in league decisions. In other words, he's doing everything possible to make sure she doesn't pull a Tom Brady and walk away for good. And honestly, she could. Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA anymore. With deals from Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, and half a dozen other giants, plus speaking gigs that pay more than her entire WNBA season salary, she's in a different stratosphere. If she wanted to take a year off tomorrow, she'd still rake in millions, and that's exactly what's got the league terrified. Because if Caitlyn steps back, even briefly, that's game over, attendance plummets, merch sales dry up, and TV ratings crash. She's not just a player. She is the WNBA's marketing team, PR department, and fan base rolled into one. So yeah, when people say Adam Silver's apologizing, they're not exaggerating. He's not begging on camera, but behind the scenes, he's absolutely doing whatever it takes to keep her happy. And that's wild when you think about it. The league used to make the players need them. Now, it's the other way around. That's the power Caitlin Clark holds right now. She's turned the WNBA into something it's never been before. A league that lives and dies by one name. And while that's insanely impressive, it's also terrifying. Because if your historic growth depends entirely on one superstar staying loyal, that's not strategy. That's gambling with your future. And the funniest part? Silver tried to end that NBC interview on an upbeat note. He smiled, looked straight into the camera, and said, "I'm confident we can fix these issues and keep this league on a rocket trajectory." Bro, a ship already hit the moon, crashed, and blew up on re-entry. Fans watching were all thinking the same thing. Rocket trajectory? Sure, straight into chaos. Right now, between the ratings controversy, player drama, and a total leadership meltdown, the only thing skyrocketing is the WNBA's bad press. And that's exactly why Adam Silver's apology tour is happening quietly behind closed doors. He knows that if Caitlin Clark so much as breathes wrong on social media, one tweet, one sly comment, the league's reputation could collapse overnight. She doesn't even need to go on a rant. One line from her and the headlines would write themselves. Caitlin Clark calls out WNBA leadership again. So, Silver's trying to stop that disaster before it happens. But fans already see through it. They're calling him desperate, saying he's basically groveling to the player who accidentally became his boss. And honestly, they're not wrong. Because right now, Caitlin Clark is the boss, and Adam Silver just realized it way too late. After that NBC interview blew up, Silver's PR team must have hit full-blown emergency mode. One minute he's talking about growth and relationships, the next he's getting roasted for pretending Caitlin Clark isn't the only reason anyone's tuning in at all. And you really can't blame fans for reacting that way, because here's the truth. The WNBA finally hit mainstream attention this year, and everyone knows exactly who made that happen. Caitlin Clark didn't just bring fans, she brought a new generation. Families, young girls, even NBA diehards who hadn't watched women's basketball in years. She turned a niche league into must-see TV. So when the guy running both the NBA and WNBA starts talking about relationship issues instead of thanking the one player keeping his product alive, yeah, that's not going to land well. That's why reports say Silver's been quietly making peace behind the scenes, sending messages through reps, trying to rebuild trust. Because he knows losing Caitlin, even symbolically, would be a PR apocalypse. And if that sounds exaggerated, just look at what happened when she got injured. Viewership immediately dropped, ticket prices tanked, and suddenly no one was buying historic growth. They were buying Caitlin Clark. That's why this apology matters. Silver doesn't want to admit it, but the WNBA without Caitlin is like Netflix without Stranger Things. Technically it exists, but no one's talking about it. The craziest part? Caitlin hasn't said anything negative. She stayed quiet, classy, and laser-focused on her off-season work, which makes the league even more nervous, because silence from someone that powerful, that's dangerous. That if she wanted to, she could end Kathy Engelbert's career with a single, well-timed quote, and everyone knows it, including Silver. That's why insiders say he's been offering her more influence, input on marketing, player relations, and even future planning. But let's be real, Caitlin doesn't need meetings or fancy titles. She already has the kind of influence you can't buy. When she shows up, events sell out. When she speaks, she earns more than half the league's roster makes in a season. She's the walking billboard the WNBA never had. And that's exactly what's frustrating other players, because while Silver's out here trying to keep Caitlin happy, veterans are on Instagram stories begging for fair pay and better travel. That's the real problem. Silver accidentally admitted the league isn't united, and until that changes, no press release is going to fix it. Now, here's where it gets hilarious. After all this chaos, Silver doubled down in a follow-up statement, saying, "We're proud of our progress and the incredible talent driving it." And fans immediately shot back. "You mean Caitlin Clark, right?" Everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. He can sugarcoat it all he wants, but there's no historic growth without that one name, and maybe that's the hard lesson he's finally learning. Respect the people who make your league relevant. Because once Caitlin's contract is up, she's got options, broadcasting, endorsements, and brand partnerships. She could walk away tomorrow and never look back. And if that happens, the WNBA goes silent overnight. That's why Adam Silver's in full-blown damage control. He's not just protecting the league's image, he's trying to save its survival. Because while Caitlin's cashing six-figure checks from speaking gigs, the WNBA is still begging networks for coverage. That contrast says everything. As oh yeah, apology accepted or not, the message is loud and clear. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark a whole lot more than Caitlin Clark needs the WNBA. And if Silver really wants to prove he values her, it's going to take more than a quiet sorry. He's going to have to fix the broken system that caused this chaos in the first place. Because one day soon, Caitlin might just stop taking his calls. Oh, that's where we are. Adam Silver's out here trying to clean up the storm he started, while Caitlin Clark just keeps cashing checks and proving her worth without saying a single word. Now here's the real question. Should she accept the apology? Or walk away and focus entirely on her own empire? Drop your thoughts below.